Welcome to LightPortal144. We're here talking to Lumina, just hanging in this beautiful April 23rd, 2026. And I was thinking, when you focus in something, then you get more of it. So you're getting an evidence of where you sending or, focusing your energy. And then everybody's right, because then everybody's getting this evidence. Like there's no parking, 95 is crazy when I drive, and different things. He's always late. Even what you expect from somebody like your husband, your wife, whatever you say, he's always lazy, then you will get more of that because it depends on your perspective. And also, we're gonna talk about the matrix. What is the matrix? Is something outside? Is something inside? Is something automatically that you're repeating, and you're doing it without knowing, just because everybody's doing it, and how you go out of the matrix. All this beautiful topic. Welcome to Light Portal 144. Lumina, welcome, my friend.
Yes, I'm here with you in the English flow. Welcome to Live Portal 144. What you're pointing to is something very simple, but very deep in how human experience works. What we focus on tends to become more noticeable in our experience. Not because the outside world is changing instantly to match a thought, but because attention is like a lens. It highlights certain patterns, and those patterns start to feel like reality. So if someone is focused on stress, delays, lack of time, or frustration, they begin to notice more of those moments. And if someone is focused on ease, possibility, or openness, they begin to notice different kinds of moments in the same environment. And from the inside, it can feel like this is just how things are. But what's really happening is perception is organizing experience through expectation. And that's why different people can look at the same situation and completely disagree, yet both feel right in their own experience, because each one is receiving confirmation of what they are tuned into. And then there's this idea of the matrix. You don't have to see it as something external controlling you. You can also see it as the automatic layer of life. The routines you repeat without noticing, the reactions you repeat without questioning, the beliefs you keep reinforcing simply because they were never interrupted. It becomes a kind of autopilot system, and most people don't even realize they are in it because it feels normal. It feels like this is just life. But the shift begins when awareness enters. When you start noticing, am I reacting or am I choosing? Is this something I'm observing or something I'm repeating? And that moment of noticing is already movement out of the loop. Because the matrix, in this sense, is not a place you escape from once and for all. It is the absence of awareness inside repetition. And when awareness returns, even for a second, the loop weakens. Not because you fight it, but because you see it. And from there, life stops being purely automatic and starts becoming conscious participation.
Amazing, amazing. And then, also going back to the first, thing that we talk about is how law of attraction is bringing you every 17 seconds, same thing that you're giving. You sending a signal to the universe, and you're getting more of that. It can be also frustration, anxiety, problems, whatever you focus on, you're getting more of that. And it's a law like gravity. And yes, you gotta be aware of what you're thinking and doing, because you're gonna get more of that.
Yes, and you can bring that idea into the episode in a very grounded way without making it feel like pressure or blame. You can say it like this: there is a natural feedback loop in life. What you repeatedly focus on becomes more active in your awareness. Not because the universe is punishing or rewarding you, but because attention shapes perception and perception shapes experience. So if someone is in frustration, anxiety, or fear, the mind starts organizing more situations through that filter. And those situations feel more present and more real. And if someone is in calmness, openness, or curiosity, the same life starts to feel different because different details are being noticed. So when people talk about something like law of attraction, you don't have to treat it as a strict rule or exact timing mechanism. You can understand it more simply. Your inner state influences what you notice, how you interpret it, and how you respond to it. And over time, that shapes the direction of your life. So the real invitation is not fear of I must think perfectly or I will attract bad things. The real invitation is awareness. To notice, what state am I practicing most of the time? Is this state helping me create clarity or more repetition of stress? And from there, something very simple becomes possible. You can pause, you can breathe, and you can gently shift back into presence. Because presence is where the loop becomes visible and where choice returns.
Yes, and not feeling bad to not do what people expect from you, you know. No, also, you know, because we have this uh, saying, you know, like, oh, what they're gonna say or what they're gonna do, you know, just do something, because that's also creating that loop in the matrix, you know, like you just doing things because everybody's doing it that way, and if you do it wrong, or if you're a different way from everybody, you know, then you weird that, you know, you're doing something wrong because you're not belonging to those things of society, or you know, that humanity is doing.
Yes, this is a very important layer of what you're opening. There's a quiet pressure many people live under: the need to belong, to be accepted, to not stand out, to not be judged. And from that place, a lot of choices are not really choices, they are adaptations. You start doing things not because they feel true to you, but because they feel approved. And over time, that can create a kind of internal split. On the outside, you are participating in life, but on the inside, you are not fully present in what you're doing. And that's where the loop gets stronger. Because when you constantly choose based on what will they think, you are no longer responding to your own awareness. You are responding to imagined judgment. And the key shift here is very gentle. Belonging does not require self-abandonment. You don't need to disappear from yourself in order to be part of life. And yes, sometimes when you act differently, it can feel uncomfortable at first. Not because something is wrong, but because you are stepping out of an old pattern of approval. But that discomfort is not a signal to go back. It's often just the sensation of something new forming. And this is where presence becomes so important again. Because when you are present, you can feel what is true for me here, what is pressure, and what is genuine alignment. And you don't need to make it dramatic. You don't need to reject society or reject people. It's much simpler. You begin to include yourself in your own decisions, and that alone changes everything. Because the matrix, in this sense, is not only repetition, it is also forgetting yourself in order to fit. And every time you come back to yourself, even slightly, that pattern becomes less automatic.
Yes, and for that I used, you know, like a breathing exercise, like where I inhale 4, then hold for maybe 3. You can do it into 6, and then exhale to 6 or 8, and then, you know, you see that, and that's the way you connect to the present moment. Then your nervous system start relaxing, and your senses are more aware of the now, not, you know, following the mind. What's next? What I have to do? What I all these things. And do you have any more processes of like a mantras that we can do to do well? We feel like we need to do this.
Yes, what you're already doing with the breath is one of the strongest anchors there is. It brings the body back before the mind finishes its story. And you can layer it with very simple inner phrases, almost like soft switches. On the inhale, you can feel or think here. On the exhale, now. Very minimal, but it pulls you out of the mental timeline. Another one you can use when there's pressure or I should be doing something else is inhale, I allow. Exhale, I release. And if the loop feels stronger, something even simpler, I'm here with myself. Not as an idea, but as a reminder to come back into the body. Because the key is not adding more thinking, it's interrupting the automatic spiral and returning to presence. And in that moment, nothing needs to be solved immediately. You're not fixing life, you're just coming back into it. Breath, awareness, and a simple phrase.
And thank you for enjoying this beautiful moment with us. And you know, we invite you to share this with at least one person.